in the current market that we're in because
Really?
no, I mean the buyers again. It's and the reason we have a backlog of buyers, it's not necessarily people will say, why are there so many buyers? It's not necessarily that there are so many buyers. It's it's more that there is so little inventory.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is the Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome to the Closing Table. My name is Kevin McIntosh, your host, and today we have a special guest talking about real estate business, Mary Strimple. How you doing, Mary?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Kevin.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here, sharing a lot of your experience and expertise in real estate, specifically in your market. Before we get started, let's just loosen up a little bit, play a game. It's an icebreaker called word association. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to name out some words and or phrases associated with real estate, and I just want you to give me your initial reaction and thoughts, whether that's a word, a definition, a story, whatever the case may be. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. First one.
Okay.
Seller's market.
Definitely, definitely a seller's market. If you're a seller, you're very happy right now.
I know, right? Amortization.
That has to do with the loan and
Hmm.
the interest rate, and depending on how you do your loan and the amortization of the interest over time.
Okay. Next one, closing disclosure.
Again, that is a very important piece of the closing. You have the buyer will have 3 days to get that closing disclosure back to the lender so that we can close that deal on time. So that's a very important piece of the transaction.
Next one, equity.
Equity is right now, equity is a big word because homes have quite a bit of equity because buyers are willing to pay so much more for them because inventory is so low.
Mm, mm. And lastly, title insurance.
Title insurance, excuse me, title insurance is important. Again, it's dealt with more on the title company end. And there are different types of title insurance that you can get. And I always advise my people to really look into that and talk to the uh, escrow agent about that and what their options are.
There you go. There you go. Well said. Well played. We appreciate you, Mary, for breaking the ice with us and starting things off a little
Sure.
loosely. So let's talk about you. That's what we're focusing on anyway. If
Okay.
you can, let's talk about who is Mary Strimple outside of real estate. I'll give you about 60 seconds, please.
So outside of real estate, I'm a wife of almost 39 years. I'm a mom. I'm a grandmother, two beautiful little granddaughters. Um, I enjoy cooking. I enjoy exercise. I walk, take my dog to the dog park. We have fun doing that.
Nice.
Outside of real estate, I've got a pretty good gig going on. Pretty happy.
Okay. There it is. There it is. Plain
Yeah.
and simple. There it is. Living your
Yeah.
life. So, Mary, I want to talk about some specifics in real estate,
Sure.
but I let's paint the picture first. If you can describe your current market for our audience, where you are geographically and surrounding locations, notable landmarks, etc.
Yeah. So I am in Aurora. Aurora is my primary market.
Mm.
Aurora is a 25 square mile little town in Cleveland, suburb of Cleveland and Akron.
Okay.
We are considered part of the Chagrin Valley. So where in relevance of Chagrin Falls, you kind of have Chagrin Falls, Aurora, Hudson. We kind of call that the Chagrin Valley. And that's
Mm.
really my market area. Now, that's not to say I don't sell, in Northeast Ohio, but my specific market area, and I've always concentrated my market pretty much into this area.
There
I
you
live
go.
here. My kids were, raised here. I'm very involved in my community. I'm, a member of the chamber. I'm on the board of directors for the chamber. When my
Okay.
children were small, I was, very involved in the athletics and sports boosters. So, it's really important when you're selling real estate to be involved in your community.
I agree. I agree. And I believe that's like a common characteristic and trait that I've been seeing in a lot of the successful agents and guests that we've had here on the closing table. I want to ask you this question with that being said. I've asked a few other agents and I want to just see where your perspective is with it. I think pretty much answer this question. Do you think it's better or more beneficial to an agent and or their clients for the agent to serve the entire state that they're licensed in or a specific market within that state?
A specific market within that state. I mean,
I would
you
agree.
can't effectively, you know, be an expert in all areas of the state that you are licensed in. That's just it's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not to say, choose your market niche, and certainly, you know, like I can say in Northeast Ohio, yes, can I sell real estate? Of course I can. But especially when it comes to listing homes, being on the listing side of it,
Right.
you really should be more honed into the market that you represent. So if you're going to
Mm,
list a home, you should know everything about where you're listing that home. There are every community has different standards, different rules, and you want to make sure that you're an expert because, your fiduciary duty to that seller is to know all of those things, to bring a well qualified buyer to them and there's not going to be any surprises for that buyer.
correct. Correct. Okay. Okay. Makes sense though. Makes sense, honestly.
Yeah.
So Aurora, Ohio. I
Yes.
think this may be the first time that we've actually had a guest on the show that represents that market specifically. Do you have any other details in regards to how that market is doing? Average price per property or average square footage, the type of properties that are common, anything like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, right now, I think all communities are struggling with inventory.
Hmm.
So,
Correct.
I would love to see more inventory, but we have some new construction options going in Aurora, uh, and we really would like to see more, one floor living style homes because
Mm,
I think that's what's backing up the inventory. I think you've got families or people that are getting into that empty nester mode that would consider, leaving the 2-story, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath colonial to
right.
go to that ranch style home, but
Mm,
it's finding that ranch style home. So
mm,
it's almost a backlog. So Aurora it is comprised of a lot of communities with those colonial homes, with an average of 2,300 plus square feet.
hmm.
If you ask me the average sale price in Aurora, anywhere between, average anywhere between $400,000 and $600,000. But obviously
Okay.
there are high end homes. We
Hmm.
have Barrington, which you have 900 plus $1,000 homes. And then you've got some, first time home buyer areas as well, where you might be able to get something for between 2 and 300,000. Again, those numbers are up. If you had asked me last year that same question, where the numbers were,
Right.
there might be a $50,000 difference on the bottom end because that's how much prices have gone up because of the buyer's market or the seller's market and the buyers
Hmm.
paying over asking price.
Woo, what a time, right? What a time that
It
we are
is. It
living in.
really is.
It's very, very crazy. And just to paint the picture of what year were you officially licensed?
I was officially licensed in 2005.
2005. So you've been through that housing crisis. You've been
I
through the
have.
pandemic. You've seen the ups and downs, the
Yes,
buyer's markets turn into the seller's market and things like that. So yeah,
absolutely.
ugh,
And it is
go ahead, please.
it's very cyclical. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've
Mm-hmm.
watched us go into, I was in a buyer's market, I was in a seller's market, I was in that short sale market in
Yeah. Yep.
2008. I mean,
Yep.
it, it's crazy how different, from year to year. I always like to tell people real estate's like the weather. It can change, on a dime.
That's
It
true.
really can.
Yeah, especially in the Midwest. Yeah, we can get all types of seasons in one week. So yeah, the market can be
Right.
just as fickle. I get it. So,
Absolutely.
so Mary, you are a prime example of a successful agent who worked on a team, had her own team, but then chose to basically dissolve that and work alone. Now, this isn't necessarily rare, but you know, your every situation is unique. So, can you describe the experience of dissolving your real estate team and what led you to focus to working directly with clients on your own?
Well, I was a team for many years. I had a couple of really good trusted associates that actually went, on to much bigger and better things for themselves. And I couldn't obviously deny them that, and it was hard for me to lose them.
Right.
Um, but it was also hard to replace the kind of cohesive relationships we had in working together. So, and
Mm,
I tried, and I've had people working on and off with me over the years. And then when COVID hit, it was a kind of a game changer.
right.
Everybody, and you can't fault people for how they worked during that time or how they chose to live during that time. But I
Mm-hmm.
found that I did not stop working during that time. And as we know, that was a very busy time in real estate. It ended up actually being, one of the busiest times I can remember in real estate was during COVID.
Mm,
Um, so at that point, I thought, well, I'm doing it all. I'm able to do it. I mean, it certainly taught us we could do a lot more remotely.
right.
And I really found that I missed that one-on-one interaction. When you're a team, yes, I would certainly meet the people that I was handing off to work with my team members, but I wasn't as involved as after I realized, you know what, I like being involved. Like after COVID, I thought, wow, I really like being involved and I like taking this from start to finish. And you know, you I guess there's nothing wrong with being a team. It's
Mm-hmm.
also a difficult thing to run. You have to be
Oh yeah.
you have to really manage a lot of things. And I just found that that wasn't something that I was enjoying. I
Mm,
enjoy I really enjoy being in the transaction from start to finish. I don't enjoy managing other personalities and other people and
right.
making sure,
Right.
because what I would find is I would ask for something to be done and I would have to ask a couple of times, maybe even more than a couple of times, when I could have actually just had it done in the
Correct.
2 seconds it took me to ask it. And again, you know, not saying that that's good, bad, or indifferent, just saying that for me, it works better to be involved from start to finish and handle it.
Yeah. No, to each his own first and foremost, but you know that just goes to the old saying. I mean, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself
Yeah, and
sometimes.
you
So.
know what? And listen, if and sometimes when you're the team, a team's focus can be to be doing, a lot of volume. And,
Mhm.
I have done, I've always done anywhere between, I would say, 15 and $20 million in volume. Okay, so that's
Mm,
kind of my niche. And I can say that I can comfortably do that, working as an individual agent. Now, if I were to get over that amount, of course, I might have to revisit. I might need some help.
right.
But, I think it's all based on what you're comfortable doing.
There you
And
go.
I don't really have the desire to be a big name team. I enjoy what I'm doing. And
There you go.
I enjoy being able to say, you know what? I can do this and I can also enjoy my family and I can enjoy my grandchildren. So, for me, I think I have found a good balance.
Yep. I think that's literally the the definition of finding your lane and staying in it. That's literally the
Absolutely.
definition of finding your lane and staying. I love it. I love to hear stuff like that, Mary. For
Yeah,
real.
absolutely. I mean, some clients will ask me about that. Well, I've looked at other agents that are, doing more, and I always say, look, especially when I'm listing homes in Aurora, I'm not interested in being Northeast Ohio's top real estate agent. I'm
Mm,
interested in being Aurora's top real estate agent. I'm
there
interested
you
in
go.
knowing my market and the market that your home is located in.
Yeah, I love that. I respect that too. You got to respect that. Let's get
Yeah,
into
thank you.
helping clients specifically. Um, this may be a specific scenario, but I want to know what your experience is. Have you ever
Mhm.
seen a client make the mistake of waiting too long to make changes to their new home and then like regret it later?
No, I mean, change is a personal thing. I mean, yeah, there are clients that buy fixer uppers. Those clients usually don't wait. those clients will
Oh,
usually make the improvements because they want
mm,
those improvements made. Um,
got you.
I guess the best way I can answer that question is maybe somebody that's been in their home, maybe somebody that built new construction in the early 2000s and is, going to sell their home now. I do run into where, maybe they still have, you know, the oak cabinets in the kitchen, or, you know, the carpeting, all over the house, instead of, trendy, newer, luxury vinyl flooring or wood flooring.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things, I always tell people kitchens and baths are usually where you're going to get, you know, the most return on your investment. But I will also say to you that in this market that we're in, it honestly doesn't matter. The buyers can look past that because the inventory is so short. They will look past that and they will not try to deduct for it.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we've seen all different types of contingencies and concessions and all different types of things just for people to get into the market, just to be
Right.
able to purchase that home. And I mean,
Right.
some of the moves that they're making, it's
Oh
it's a
yeah,
little bit cringeworthy, honestly, but I
well,
mean to each his own.
it is. And what I'll say to you is, 5, 6 years ago, had I gone on a listing appointment where I saw some of these updates that might have been needed, I might have suggested they make them.
Right, right, right.
I don't have to make that suggestion in the current market that we're in because
Really.
no, I mean, the buyers, again, it's and the reason we have a backlog of buyers, it's not necessarily, people will say, why are there so many buyers? It's not necessarily that there are so many buyers. It's it's more that there is so little inventory.
Correct, correct. I got you. I got you. Okay, makes sense. All right, Mary. Let's speak on inspiration. Do you have anything you want to share with us in regards to a book, movie, quote, philosophy that you feel like changed your life, inspired you, or motivated you to push a little bit harder and change your life for the better?
Well, actually, there's just one small quote that my manager, for many years, used to say, and I truly do live by this, because if you don't show up in your business, you don't have a business. So she
Mm,
always used to say, she'd say it all the time: get up, dress up, show up, and never give up.
there it is.
And it's simple, but it's
Mhm,
true. Get up,
mhm.
go to work, do your thing. And interestingly enough, during COVID, and another thing I will say that's important is education. And during COVID,
Mm,
a very good friend of mine that I work with in real estate suggested that we go get our Florida real estate licenses together. So during COVID, when things slowed down, we studied for our Florida test and we both passed. And I will tell you that,
congratulations.
thank you. And I will tell you
Yeah.
that it's really a lot of fun, being a dual state agent. I find
Mm,
that a lot of my Ohio connections want to have, either second or primary homes in Florida. And
correct.
it has, honestly, and I really looked at it as just education at the time I was doing it. But, now that I'm actually in it, I'm so happy that I did.
Right. That's a great point that you bring up because I've often seen that Florida is becoming, not even becoming, but it's already been a very popular state for retirees, but just amongst other people also. So is that the reason why you chose Florida specifically, or what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, when we talked about where we would, do dual licensure, I mean, we both had wanted to have homes in Florida. That was kind of a goal for both of
Hmm.
us. And I was fortunate enough, my husband and I were fortunate enough to find a home there. So just this last year, over the well, actually, just this past winter, we were there for a couple of months, and I was able to activate my Florida license there. Um, and I do find that people more in our age group, that empty nester stage of life,
Got you.
do like to be able to say, it's nice to get away from the snow and the cold in the
Hmm.
wintertime. And
Hmm.
I will also say that it did not affect my business here in Ohio, not being here,
Got
because
you.
we can work remotely, and I have people in here in Ohio that will help me, and I have great agents, great relationships with agents that, I work with here. But I was also able to, get that little bit of Florida business off the ground, and right before I left, listed one in Naples, and that was pretty cool to be able to
Mm,
do that. Felt like a brand new agent all over again. It was really
right.
fun to be able to do that, and then to be able to come home to the business that I've worked so hard. 18 years I've worked to build my brand, and I feel very blessed. I will tell you that real
There
estate
you
is
go.
it's a great career. Yes, you have to work pretty hard at it, but if you do the work and you show up and you build those relationships and you get involved in your community, the community where you want to do the most business, there's no doubt you're going to succeed.
Mm, mm. That's a great point. Do you think most, if not all, agents should have dual state license?
That's I think it's a personal choice. Um, I think education is never a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you just took the courses for the education, but if if you say to yourself, there's a chance that you might spend your winters in a warmer climate and you're a successful agent, and well, why not? What would the harm be in it? Because you at least then have the ability to work or not if you want to. You've got that ability
Yes.
and you're licensed and you can, and for me, I think keeping my mind active and for me, it's a good thing. I don't want to make my happy place my workplace, but by the same token, I don't know that I can be someplace for 3, 4, or 5 months out of the year and not do anything. So,
Correct.
I for me, it's a good thing. For me, it's a really good thing.
Mary, how are you measuring success?
You know what? I measure success by my happiness. I measure success by the fact that I've got a wonderful husband, I've got great kids, I've got the best granddaughters. I enjoy that more than I can tell you. That to me is success. Health and happiness. Anything else is gravy. Um, so
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, we appreciate you for pulling up a chair here at the closing table, Mary.
it was
Thank
really
you.
fun.
Absolutely. So before we get out of here, if you have any last words and or want to tell the people how they can reach out to you, please do so now.
Oh, I would love that. If you want to list your home or buy a home, I'm happy to help you. Mary Strimple with Howard Hanna in Aurora, 330-671-3179. And remember those words: get up, dress up, show up, and never give up.
There it is. We love it. We love it. Thank you so much, Mary. We appreciate it. For our
You're
YouTube
welcome.
audience watching right now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, please do us both a favor and hit that like button for us. Also, make sure you share and subscribe to our channel. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. Mary, I always leave our audience with a question for them to think about before we leave. Audience, what are some of the most unusual amenities or features that you've seen in a home that you would have never thought of? Don't tell us now. Leave it in the comments below. Besides that, we'll talk to you next time.